Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 2 of Rannoch, our vanilla Boreal build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Of course, last episode we got the city started, and now we have this here today, so let's talk about what I want to happen. So usually in the second episode of my vanilla series in particular, we tend to spend that second episode focusing on reworking the starting industry, but I'm pretty happy with the little pocket we have over here. There is certainly demand for more, but in today's episode I want to focus on introducing a little bit of a park area right along this river while continuing to expand the suburb of Sherry, whilst also preparing some public transport to lie in this corridor here. So let's get started with that park life area. So if you are missing the park life DLC, it certainly brings a lot more fun and games to the parks, expanding them from just simple ploppable assets into kind of actual park districts. So I'm going to draw up my first park area here, and basically just to encompass this riverbank up to the suburb, and then back down here as well. I'm just going to make this a regular city park. Of course, there's zoos, nature reserves, and lots of other different types of things we can get involved in. But for right now, this will do me. So we'll have it here. We'll also name this after a wonderful Patreon subscriber, of course. We'll name this Aliaga Gardens after our wonderful Patreon subscriber, Carlos. Thank you so much for all your support, Carlos. Love you, buddy. Appreciate the Patreon support. And you do have the first park in Rannoch. So now we painted out the park area. And we do want to turn this into an actual park area. And for which we do need a city park, for which we are actually a little bit low on money after the last episode. Very expensive start to the city, but we are actually pretty close to that next milestone, aren't we? Yeah, we're like 40, 60 people away from it. So let's just get those coming in. Let's do some more housing around our high school here. Get some of the deeper shapes where possible. Yep, all this can become residential through here. I guess we can also start to zone up some of these blocks here too. Go ahead and get the footpath in there. Let's just double check our services. Elementary school is more than okay after we placed 2 schools last episode. And this high school has just basically hit about half of its capacity. So we should be okay. And the city isn't really ready for a university yet, but we'll definitely get into a campus build at some point. And let's have a look how much of this tile we have left to use. Yeah, I think I'd rather keep... See which tile. Probably... It's a difficult decision that, isn't it? Do we go right or we go left? I think we'll probably go right, I think. Well, speaking of, there is our next milestone, which does unlock a whole bunch of stuff. More transport, trams, more importantly. Airport areas. We might be able to get the airport apron now. I'm actually not sure if that unlocks immediately. Let's have a little look, shall we? I doubt it does. Yeah, it just wants an airport area and a terminal built to unlock the apron. So we'll get there eventually. We're not quite ready to place that yet. But that does give us a bit more money. And that will definitely make sure we keep zoning these guys up as well. So this whole area just keeps growing up. And we'll sort out a town centre for Sherry at some point as well. Probably next episode. We'll take a look at that. And then I don't want residentials backing onto this arterial. We'll do something a bit more fancy with this once we have the room to play with it. Now we have the money for our park gate. So there's a couple of main gates. I think just because we're in kind of low density suburbia here, I'm just going to go with the small gate. So smooth the pathway. We'll have that there. This of course will turn it into an official park area where it has a star rating. And now we can have some more fun with this. So let's hook that gate back in. So I would like to make some money out of this park area. So I think for specific entrances into said park area, they must come through a gate. If you're unfamiliar with the park life mechanic, they must pass through a gate in order for them to be charged. And indeed to count toward the official visitor numbers here. If they just walk in on a regular path, they won't count as a visitor. They have to pass through one of these gates. So we want to make sure that that's happening. Let's hook these guys back in with the road guideline. And fabulous. Cool. So there's also something else we can introduce into the park as well before we get building it. And this is actually going to be to key off the waterways. I don't always like to do this, but I think where we have kind of a nice wide river like this, it always makes it look a little bit more just sort of landscaped, I suppose, if it has a key on it. So I'm going to use the simple city key. So people can walk on these. This is from the content creator pack, Bridges and Piers. Definitely one of the best ones to get if you're missing it. As always, check the instant gaming link down below. You will find a wonderful price that does help support the channel. So let's bring in a stretcher key here. I just want it roughly to follow the shape of the coastline. Doesn't have to be exact, as long as it generally mimics that shape, I'm going to be happy with it. So that's going to be kind of a keyed park. against not keyed park, and I think I definitely prefer it with the key. Again, I'm not going to put keys everywhere, but this particular instance, I think it definitely suits it. So let's keep that going all the way through here. And why don't we finish it here, just at the entrance to the park? So this can sometimes look a little abrupt, especially in vanilla. So why don't we drop some little rocks around here and see if we can just make it look a little bit more natural. So if you are playing on the console, I believe your collision mesh for these rocks is much smaller than it is on the PC for some reason. But you won't be able to place them as tightly as I am doing. But of course, if you're on the PC, there is always the Anarchy mod, should you wish to just bypass the collision meshes entirely. It does make the game considerably more enjoyable from a detailing perspective with Anarchy, so definitely worth installing if you're on the PC. So let's put some lantana around this, make it look a bit more overgrown. And maybe the occasional little roadie there as well. Now we could also dive into the world of Find It and pull out some more props here as well if we wanted to start detailing, which I'm quite keen to do for this series. So if we were to search for a log, not meaning to search for what I think the game wants to be logos, I'm after just, yeah, I'm after these fallen trees here. So if you search for trees to find it, you will find these fallen tree props. You will see these across all of the vanilla maps. I'm pretty sure Sidai's got some for us over here. Yeah, there you go. You can see them buried in amongst the foliage. And they are vanilla assets. You just got to search for tree, and there's 4 different varieties of them. It's just an extra little level of sort of vanilla asset detailing that can really help tie an area together. Let's have some logs around here. Multiple different types of fallen trees, etc. Maybe we can have one out there. And then let's find maybe just one singular large tree. Maybe we can actually bring in the redwood here. Or we could do the first Palaven pine. It is so nice to have this tree back. I have not placed this since, I think Navaria had it, didn't it? But it was definitely more used than Palaven. What a wonderful tree, right? The best tree in the game. Palaven pine, absolutely love it. Very happy to have that back. I will make a big song and dance out of that tree, I'm sure. Cool, so that's going to be a nice little edge to my park here, okay? I'm happy with that. So now we have our park area down, let's actually come into the district, and I want to start placing down some of these initial attractions so we can start getting visitors in here and actually give people something to do. So the park will be making a loss at the minute of $64, that's okay. So let's decide where I would like sort of my main park area to sit, if you like. I think we will have another side gate here, just to run centrally with this road. Now, I do also want public transport to pass through this park. However, I think that's likely to be an elevated metro bridge with what I think I'm going to do for this area. I am still waiting for your guys' feedback on this. This is recorded obviously before episode 1 has gone out. So if we do put trams through here, which I think we probably will do, maybe we can partner with Metro where the Metro bridge goes through the park and into this area over here. That might be quite a lot of fun to do that. But we'll wait and see. I'm getting distracted. There's so many ideas at the start of a new vanilla build, isn't there? I think at this point I will switch to this part life pathway. Now I'm going to come on to no grid snap in here. I just want this to also no road length as well. I just want that to come up to the key and connect to it in the fashion like that. Okay, we'll push the ground out a little bit, but we can terraform that back down. So they can actually make use of that walking key, okay? And now let's create a bit of an arrivals point, shall we? Let's have road length back on and grid as well. And we'll do 140 each side. Something like that. And then I wouldn't mind doing... How about a little 2D curve here of 60 units? Let's do that. Let's remove that middle pathway, and then let's put in another Palaven pine. I told you we would make a very big song and dance about this tree today. And then I'm going to grab some wild hedge. I'm just using the circle tool on the line tool, which is such an important quality of life mod for me to play the game these days. I just want to fill that in. And maybe some scattered roadies and a bit of lantana around the base of the tree here. And now we can just have a little tree park feature that really just helps to break up the park a little bit. I really like doing designs like this. Very flexible as well. And then let's go ahead now and grab some assets. So we could do a couple of park plazas. I guess we could put them straight off here, couldn't we? Why don't we try to do that? So we'll line it up so it's about as straight on the edge of those circles. think that's quite nice, isn't it? And then let's find a way for this to hook back in. So I think we'll use the pathway all the way up until probably this spot here, I reckon. And then it can switch back to dirt and go a little bit kind of less landscaped and maintained down this end. We'll definitely have our main park feature up this way. Also trim back some loose connections we don't need at the minute. And let's continue to flesh out this park here. So let's bring it up along this way, and then I'd like to... Where's the best way we can come out here? Probably going to be there, is it? And again, I guess we don't really need this to come back into that path, do we? We could actually just extend this up to the key again. And I wouldn't mind doing that on the other side, so let's redraw that. We can find it's 140. We want to come out to road length here. That would be 140 there. I guess we could have just done it against the edge of the plaza. Would have also achieved that, wouldn't it, in hindsight? And then we can have that there. That'll kind of box those in quite nicely, and then we can do some further detailing around those. Whilst we do have them, let's come in with a Park Life Cafe. Looks like it'd squeeze up perfectly there. I bet we could even actually rotate this the other direction, and it still would maintain a connection. There's something like that, I think. Yep, I'm happy with that. And then let's just search in our Find It menu for a table. There's a variety of them now in the vanilla game with all the DLCs. There is some really nice ones here in the Hotel Resorts pack. We got some really nice restaurant tables. But I think I'm just going to use the regular Park Life ones. That's just these simple table sets here. And they're the ones that are used on the Park Life assets. Let's just extend that seating area out the front. Again, we could also use an airport apron here, but I would like to maintain at least a little bit of green space in this park here. Cool. We can have a little table set outside there. Let's come back into our Park Life area. We also have a restroom. So let's see if we can find a nice little spot for this to nestle into. Looks like maybe up alongside the river here. Might be nice. We'll have a restroom there. And then let's go ahead and throw down some more trees here. Let's get a live oak in that spot. You keep the Boreal vibe going as well with some Boreal pines. Happy with this so far. Keep those assets coming in. The last one we have at this current level is an info booth. Looks like it'd fit in perfectly here, but that would stop my fencing that I want to do down here, so we won't put it there. So let's have 2 park info booths just next to each other in this slot here. And where does that take us to? Quite a bit over the entertainment level, which is quite nice. We can also put some policies on this part, but they do cost money, and we don't really need it for a park like this, so we probably will leave it. I think we could do the, I think it's the main park, is it? Yeah, it makes it more attractive to tourists, and the advertisement campaign draws 20% more visitors at a cost of $200 a week. We can probably afford that $200 expenditure. Not a huge hit. We can justify it with more businesses anyway. Cool. So I like that there. I'd also like some commercial and a bit of shopping nearby to the park as well, rather than just this endless residential districts that we have here. So why don't we look at creating a little sort of custom commercial block here up against the couplet. So I'd like to keep it in blocks of 8 essentially. So let's line up the grid to reflect that. And now let's draw in a little bit of commercial. So we will need some more industry soon as well. The industry demand is very high. How long till we get office space? Yeah, not for a while yet. So with the commercial, let's do 4x4. Now, I'd really like to mix in some car parking into this early commercial. I know the game is pretty good at spawning with car parking in vanilla these days anyway. But I'd still like to integrate a few of these vanilla parking lots where possible. So let's have one there. And then we're going to customize the block even further with a little bit of pathwork. Let's have pathway cut through here. And then with all the remaining space, I just want to fill that in now. And then where the space where I don't really want zoning, which tends to be the 1 deep blocks, let's just run some of our favorite trees through there as well. Cool. And then we'll do this again in the same block, but let's switch the configuration up a little bit this time. Let's do 2 parking lots either side, and then we'll have all of this. And save room again for another little pathway to come through. This should lead to some much more interesting commercial designs, and the prime example is exactly here. So just having these open parking lots in the back really opens up the back of the commercial district to make it look a lot more realistic, which I think in vanilla it's sorely needed. Granted, some parking spots might not make a huge amount of sense. It'd be pretty tight reversing out some of those. If that sort of stuff really does irritate you, of course, just tidy it up. But you should be able to find some pretty convincing little blocks like this. And what you'll find is you'll just start creating little kind of natural alleyways. And given the fact that the buildings come with textures and props on them, it really just helps tie up your commercial areas. So a prime example here again as well. Very nice, right? So the introduction of car parking into some commercial blocks like that would be quite welcome. And of course you don't have to do that everywhere. Eventually, doing that, you will end up with too much parking. So let's also have a block that is just solid commercial up against here as well. So that's really great. And we can see that we have our first dead in the city, which is definitely something we need to place. So people are now starting to die. So let's come into our healthcare. Now, we do have 6 citizens, so a med clinic is probably needed at this point as well. And we don't currently have any other death care than the graveyard, do we? I think that is correct, yes. So we'll have to place at the cemetery as well. So let's do this while we're here. So these are sort of big town centre service assets, aren't they? So I reckon we'll have them here. Let's continue our roads down with the couplet. Of course, this design's going to continue for a while. I was wondering, I originally imagined it's going to snake off to the left. Possibly hook back in with the highway and then go over the hills and far away with whatever ends up down here. But it will eventually service the oil refinery, because if we were to have a look at our natural resources, pretty much the only oil deposit on the map is just off of the coast here. So this is finally going to give us a chance to use, which I can't select at the minute, but the big offshore oil refinery, which isn't something we've used since Bogusia, and even in Bogusia it was kind of bad. So we'll see if we can do something a bit more interesting with a refinery this time around. So with that in mind, I don't want to get too close to this area because a lot of that industrial infrastructure is going to line these shores, I think. So it will continue for a little bit. Maybe we mark that as the point we turn off. I guess we'll sort of see. But let's give our people here a health clinic. So we'll have it come out near the high school. And we'll do a little spot like this. First of all, we will place down the medical clinic. Or we could go for the normal one. I do like this one here. The European one is quite a nice building. But then again, you know, I actually wouldn't mind it just there, because these are great little corner assets, the vanilla clinics. What I mean by that is it just sits very nicely on a corner, doesn't it? Really opens up the building. And I think that might be a nice complement to the couplet system eventually, of course, once this is designed with public transport, which we might have a little look at today. I'm sure we could place down... I don't think we unlock the tram roads. Oh no, we do unlock the tram roads before the depot. Okay. I guess maybe we could try it then. One-way tram track, yeah, so... No, we don't want the grid snap here. So we're just looking at how we could possibly run trams down here, which is quite similar to what we did in Orchid Bays. But a little bit more kind of grandiose in its design, isn't it? And I think if we then partnered this with tram pedestrian roads to create custom metro stations along the line, which isn't available until 5,500. I think I've got some ideas of just how I want this to look. Let's also make sure we're picking and choosing appropriate commercial buildings here. Historical buttons very powerful for achieving an authentic look in CS, I think, so make use of it. You can also use a historical district if you're on the PC as well. With the, I'm not sure what mod it is, I'll leave it up on screen, whichever one it does it, if you're interested. Now, usually I'm not a fan of that asset, but I think I actually don't mind it there. I think it's okay. So hopefully you can see what I mean now this is all grown in, right? Just some slightly more interesting commercial blocks. Lots more parking around them. I'm happy with that. Certainly a idea we'll revisit as the series grows up as well. How are we doing for entertainment here? Yeah, just waiting on those visitors now. We did give it advertising campaign, didn't we? We did indeed. Anyway, let's return to healthcare. Realise I'm rambling. So now we want to grab the cemetery. And this can go... Actually, wouldn't just mind it on the street. nearby to the school. Or we could just have it on the main street here. I don't think it's going to be suited anywhere else. It does actually very nearly fit perfectly in the couplet, but of course we wouldn't have it there anyway. I think we'll just do it there. It's going to make everyone across the city happy enough, isn't it? Yep, there we go. Big wave of happiness. And that should start to send out hearses. I think what we will do is, because I want to build Sherry's town centre sort of in and around here, so I don't want to encroach too much upon it. So we'll box that in there. And I think that'll just serve as our little church there. I'm happy with that, I think. And with that comes the collapse of our services. So, God, we just shot up in water demand. What the hell was that? Yeah, it is the electricity budget that's killed the water. So let's bring that back to 100% now. And that should sort everyone out. Let's give it a moment. And there it goes. Although electricity can't be too far away from collapsing again, can it? Yeah. So we'll have to wait a little bit with expansion in order to get that there. Of course, we could always just raise the budget as well. But interesting that the coal power plant... How is its output compared to the regular? 40 megawatts versus 56. So yeah, it's slightly more powerful than the regular coal power plant, I suppose. Hence its name of the advanced coal power plant. But we'll see. Anyway, cool. So that's those services now accounted for in the budget. We will let them move up in time, of course. We should turn back now to our park, which should be moving up through its levels. It's not too far away now. Whilst the park continues to move up through its levels, I mentioned I want to save a bit of a town centre episode to fill this space over here. So let's come back towards the start of the city now. And, I'd like to have a little look at filling out some more industrial space over here. So to give ourselves the room, I think we will pop this tile first. So let's go ahead and open it. And we can now begin to prepare a lot more of these connections as they flow around town. So, need some industry. Let's come ahead and satisfy a bit of this demand. So we don't have industrial road yet, do we? I don't believe. Oh, no, we do. We do, actually. Which might make me want to upgrade a few of these roads in that case, then. How about that? That's fine. I think there's something to be said about the combination of industrial road versus the vanilla concrete median. It does work quite well together. I think we'll carry on using it here as well. Let's grab ourselves this one here, and we'll do, let's say 280. And then we'll switch back to that industrial road. Again, I'd really like to position my industrial units here to just be parallel with the highway. Something you see a lot in the UK, especially kind of like major distribution warehouses. You see, as you're driving up and down the motorways, you'll see hundreds of them. They are everywhere. But speaking of, we should have access to warehouses now. We do, but we can't afford them. I wouldn't mind... But then again, I guess for what I want to do, it'd be all storage, wouldn't it, if I wanted to store coal nearby to help feed the plant? Yeah, I think we'll do that another time. How is garbage collection in the city too? Let's just double check that. Do we need... Actually really bad. Are you sure? Just that one recycling centre is already struggling? It does have a lot of garbage reserves though. That's probably why, isn't it? Just doesn't have the capacity. Which is a bit of a shame, so we might need to place another recycling centre. Which is okay, we can absolutely do that. So let's bring in some larger blocks of industry here. I'm going to keep them off of this main road here as well. And then we'll also have another block down this way. We could chuck in just a small warehouse yard. I think this might be quite useful for at least the town of Cherry. And I realised we didn't name the first suburb last episode, did we? And what I would like to talk about, actually, why we do paint out this new district, is I would like to invite the more creative amongst you, people that are savvy in graphic design and Photoshop, to design a city logo or a city sign for Rannoch. Please send the high resolution version to me of your design to me via email. That email is up on screen and also available on the channel's about tab. We will have a vote in the Discord and the winner will have their logo animated to appear as the sign of Rannoch. So if you're interested in designing that, please get your designs sent to me at overchargedegg@gmail.com and we'll have a little competition in the Discord, which is also linked down below, should you wish to enter. So you can use Photoshop or you like graphic design and want to make a sign for the city, please factor in kind of the trees and the mountains and the whole vibe of Rannoch into your design as well. It would help. Then we'll have a vote, and then I'll have your logo animated, and then we'll have it as the series logo. So if you're interested in that, please get involved down below. This building has upgraded to something I don't like, and in the meantime, we also need to name this suburb after one of our patrons as well. We're actually just going to have this as a scope, which is also another really nice name for a little suburb here after our beautiful patron Scope, who of course designed the Orchid Bay billboards for us last season. So thank you so much for your support, Scope. Really do appreciate it, buddy. Multiple Spice of the Month winner over in the Discord as well. Absolute legend. Yeah, of course, these guys want power. I'd rather not draw a power line, so in this case, let's just do some little commercial blocks here. Now I'm going to run these in line with the actual blocks of commercial here, because I think we can do something quite nice with some pathways. That pathway not massively necessary with the road being here, so I think we'll probably skip that one. Let's send that one down. And then we'll also grab some trees for these spaces here as well to shelter some noise pollution with houses being so close as well. Let's spam some trees. Let's get something taller and vanilla in there. I did want to make sure that the redwood keeps appearing, so let's get that in as well. Alongside maybe some sprucier numbers there as well. That'd be quite cute. Love the repetition of cargo containers there, so let's keep them in. Well, we've also got some really nice prop generation work there, haven't we? Just stuff like that in vanilla makes an enormous difference to an industrial day, doesn't it? Some actual authentic sort of prop storage. So with our warehouse yard, these warehouses, they do come with the Industries DLC if you're missing it, but they do allow us to store a number of things. So we can't store coal here, unfortunately. That does come with the ore area. There is coal storage. So for right now, let's just go for commercial zone goods, I think. Fabulous. They also do provide some jobs too. And is that water down again? It looks like it is. So I think rather than... When do we unlock that Sunset Harbour Tower? 12,000! Jesus. I didn't realise it was so high. Okay, that's fine then. Let's just go ahead. We could do another water pump, I suppose. And I guess we can sort of blend it in with our industrial area. Should be able to, I think. I should start feeding you all with water now. Yeah, everyone's happy. And we can probably bring that water budget back down now even. Try and maximise our income in these first initial stages. Yeah, sewage treatment drops maybe a little too much there with that water budget. Which is fair enough. We haven't placed another sewage treatment, have we? Let's bring that up a touch, that should be okay. Fabulous. So we're seeing a pretty similar dynamic here. I envision one day with an industry redevelopment. We will probably stick a unique factory out here, but of course we'll spend an episode having a look at our various industries. But for right now, this generic zone in here is just going to help bring that demand down a little bit. Let's also get some forest brush between here and the highway as well. Something like that. Although I didn't realise last episode that the the forest brush actually cost money, which I had forgotten about due to Orchid Bay's vast coffers. It just doesn't do that. Yeah, it actually does bankrupt us here, but we should be okay. I think that's just more power demand, is it? Yeah, yeah. Let's just bring that budget up a little. Let's just go for 114%. That should push you back into the green. Or barely, actually, isn't it? Okay, maybe we could. Yeah, I would love some wind turbines. Then again, they are over here. This is high wind. You know, I wouldn't be averse to some wind turbines against the highway. I think we actually will go for a couple of them. Of course, this will be a temporary power line, but for right now, it does hook it into the national grid. So this actually kind of leads us in now to develop our next road crossing, which is going to start coming down here. By road crossing, I mean crossing over the highway. So where do we want this to go? Let's just sort of eye up exactly where we're going to sort of approach here. So there's a rail line putting through this, which I just realised actually now gives us access to rail, doesn't it? So I'd really love to plan that in nice and early. Runs all the way through here as well. Now, one day I would like to bring the rail off here, bring it through the town, probably stopping in Sherry Town Centre, along here, and then probably have it come all the way along this way, and then cross the river with the bridge, and then hook it back into this national line over here. I think it might be a really cool way to use the rail, and actually link the two networks together, because they're not currently hooked in, but obviously the strait separates them. So some long-term planning there. we'll have a rail junction over there, but of course we'll spend an episode looking and playing with trains, indeed, once we do unlock them, which is still quite a ways away yet as well. So with this road, now we could just go like that, and then go up, and then back down again, but it looks a little bit naff, I think. So with this approach in mind, let's do a little bit of terrain work for the first time. So I'm going to use my shift terrain tool here, and roughly in line with the road there. It doesn't have to be an exact science. Let's grab a specific contour line. That should be okay. Something like that. And then I want to push this landmass out up against my highway. And then over here as well. But not enough money. It is an expensive science, terraforming, so you have to bear with it. But I just want to make sure, really, I have enough clearance here to get... Yeah, which mock drawing in a road over it gives me a fairly sensible clearance there. So I'll be happy with those layers. Can we take another loan yet, I wonder? Would love a little bit more money. There we go. I always forget how expensive my starts to the cities are. We do use all the money available to us. So now with the slope tool, I want to right click the top of this slope here and just push out along the path that I expect my road to take up here. Something like that. Now right now that looks a little unnatural, but we can absolutely blend it back in. Of course, this whole space here is super flat, so introducing our own hills and bumps and lumps into the equation, it will be very much appreciated. So let's have this one go up there like that, so it's slowly rising up that hill. And then I would like it to elevate about there. And then let's cross over. So thinking this arterial probably is going to come alongside the rail, cross over it and go over this way eventually. So as long as it's in that general sort of trajectory, I think I'll be happy with it. So let's line up this bridge. Do it 1820 about there. Am I happy with that? I think so. Then a road guideline and a curve. And I can just hook that in there like that. It isn't perfectly straight. Does that massively bother me? Don't think you can particularly tell in the grand scheme of things, can you? I think I'll be happy with that. And then again, the same thing down the other side as well. Let's get a rough estimation of where this is going to come down. Probably following this pathway here. Push that out a touch. There we go. And now this can also come down the other side as well. I would like it to mimic that, so let's do 1350 back down to the ground. There we go. And then that could just go over there for right now. For the time being, I think I'm just going to downgrade this into dirt road to save the extra upkeep. But obviously we know that is going to be an extension of that arterial across the highway. Now we do have it across the highway. We can just use our soften tool to blend these little bumps back in. If you want to leave some of them in as rock walls, we can do a little bit of detailing around here in a second to zhuzh up the highways a little bit. I think that's definitely something I really enjoyed doing in vanilla, is highway detailing. We've done it for years now, since Palaven, with highways and power lines alongside them, larger industrial infrastructure. It's something I think that really makes a big difference to the game. Spending time making sure your highways look quite authentic. But we'll get to that way in the future. But for right now, our arterial road does have a crossing across the highway. And we could even build another interchange off of this, actually, in hindsight, now I'm looking at it. I suppose it might be worth doing, even if it's not omnidirectional, as in you can't travel every direction in it. It might just be worth seeing how it behaves. So let's bring this in line with the highway. And we'll have it come down here for as long as it can on that stretch. Let's just give that a simple connection. And we'll see just how much traffic this takes off from a junction down there. I suppose we could also have a little entrance ramp back on as well here, couldn't we? Again, we'll do a similar thing, although maybe we'll have to do it at slightly different angles here due to this one being offset a little further. Let's have that on there, and then we'll just do a little kind of half curve back into the road guideline here. Otherwise, use the actual curve tool for that one. There we go. Slight kink in the road, but it should be okay. Cool. So we'll just introduce some slip ramps and see if the AI will come and use this. Of course, we mentioned last episode that this junction will be okay, but it should no way be like a main entrance into the city. It's just not got the capacity to deal with huge volumes of traffic. So any extra little slip roads we can introduce like this will help us in the long run. So we'll see if any AI begins to use it. Will take them a second to recognize it as a possible path, but people should come down here in a second anyway. Oh, and Sherry is burning down. That's the first fire of the city. There we go, yeah. Fire truck is already here extinguishing. So let's chill out for a little bit. Let's wait for our part to hit level 2 so we can get some more assets into it, and then we'll have a look at a detailing time-lapse for the rest of this space here, and then also have a look at preparing for next episode's town centre build as well, where we'll introduce that public transport system into the couplet, depending on what it is you guys vote for. So, we're back in a sec. And fabulous, our park hits level 2, which gives us access to some more assets. Let's come back into our city park stuff. Now, we do also unlock the park piers here. So we could use these actually, because we do actually have the ability to use these on the waterfront. So they're not quite inside the park area. Let's push a few of them out. There we go, let's make sure that district extends. How much more entertainment is it we need here? Only actually 10 more. So I'd be happy to introduce that. Almost at the end of the pathway would be nice. So one is covered and the other one isn't. So of course these are going to block my key, but I can pretend people can walk under that, or suppose walk around it. There's not a lot really you can do in vanilla. If you have move it here, you can just position it at the edge of the key so it looks a little bit more natural, but for me, that is unfortunately not possible. But I can still enjoy it. And I think we'll have a larger one down here on the conjunction of the path. Seems pretty cool. I have one there. I've also got some people using those pathways now as well. I'd like to further encourage the use of them by also grabbing a little pathway here. Just on that angle. Just let that connect in as well. Just so people walk into the park and then hopefully onto the quay. And we should probably upgrade that segment of path there as well, shouldn't we? That pushes it over its entertainment value again. We did also get the chessboard here as well, didn't we? So if we're going to extend the park out this way, I also wouldn't mind having the chessboard in. How about in its own little feature? Let's use park path with decorations, and then we'll do 60 and 120. And then let's grab that chessboard. We'll have that straight in the middle. So bringing it to the edge would be 120. So let's do another 100 from there. Should fit a second chessboard. Make sure they're pretty much bang opposite each other, which they are. I think oftentimes when you come into the developed park areas, it can be quite hard to keep the designs fresh in vanilla. But I think playing with kind of geometric shapes in your mind can help you just come up with varying different designs to help, well, stop them getting stale pretty much. And this one can go off up to the key again. Again, I want to make sure that people are paying to enter this park, so I don't really want the key to also be hooked into the outside. There we go. See some people using them now. These make a massive difference to your city, these walkable keys. Easily, I think it's all my most desired DLC. Again, check out the DLC tier ranking if you're interested. That will help you. Guy going for a little bike ride with his cat. It's not something you see every day, is it? But okay. That's fine. Very obedient cat as well, isn't it? It's both staying alongside him and matching the pace of the bike as they defy gravity to reach the pier. Fantastic. Tall pier as well, isn't it? But that's okay. Cool. So now we have this design here. Let's also change the tree there as well. Why don't we go for some young lindens or something? We'll go taller, but I think the boreal pines on this path might be a bit obnoxious, I think, to say the least. So let's stick with the linden. I think that's a bit better, isn't it? There we go. Cool. So, giant chest now available in Alagia Park. Just a little bit more. What is the next bits we unlock? It's the gazebos at level 3, isn't it? And then the climbing frames and the trampoline are at 4 and 5. Yeah, they'll happen. And we'll put them in during our daytime time lapse. I do need to bring an end to this park, otherwise it's going to end up just going on forever. So let's bring in a road. And I guess probably here is going to be a sensible spot for it. We'll also chuck road length on too. Let's have that there. I envision this one's probably going to connect back in with the rest of the road frames. As such. Keep all them going. And then we'll stick Sherry Town Centre. Probably here, I reckon. Might be a good spot for it, if not over here. Some space, anyway. We'll find a nice place for it. Let's have it over there, and we'll see what unique buildings we can use as well. Because of course there's a lot more unique buildings now to run with town centre ideas, so we'll see exactly what it is we can do. I'd also like to incorporate a sports venue into the park as well. How about a little cricket pitch? A little suburban cricket number might be quite nice, actually. Now, I know it would encourage people in through the park, especially if we link the pathways in. But it would be really nice to have one of these here. Community soccer park would also look pretty tasty as well. Let me just place that in. Because this is actually one of the ones without the pathways on them, isn't it? I do really like this asset though. I think having a big sports field in a park like that is quite welcome, isn't it? But yeah, I think we'll go with that then. I think that's going to be quite nice, isn't it? And then I'd love to develop a little bit of a vanilla cul-de-sac here, which I think the best way of achieving that is via the roads we don't currently have unlocked, but I'm sure we could achieve something pretty similar with a wide road. It's pretty kind of rudimentary detailing, but for a vanilla cul-de-sac it's about as close as you can get. It does look better with the after dark roads, but we don't have them unlocked yet. And then I think we'll have another side gate here. And that can come and connect into the park as such, I think. And we'll also keep that roadie pattern, or not roadie, linden pattern going here. Cool. And then we'll save some room here for those level 3 and 4 unlocks when we get the kids climbing frames. But with Find It and the park prop menu, we can also design our own kids areas, which is what we will do. So either way, let's do some detailing. Wrap fences, lots more trees around the park just to flesh out this riverside here. And again, I think we'll also maybe, I don't know what I'm going to do public transport here. I'd love to have a tram line maybe come through the park. I think I might save this corridor for that. And then have it cross over the river into the next district. Or do we do that with Metro? Not sure. There's just far too many ideas for the start of a vanilla series, everyone. But either way, it's a tremendous amount of fun. Let's do some detailing, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a look what's happened during our detailing time lapse. So lots of fencing and trees around our entire park space. At level 3 we hit those gazebos, so just another simple little ring pattern. With a nice little variety of flowers and bushes in here as well, which really helps the sort of asset pop, doesn't it? Adjacent to our football pitch, of course, which I absolutely love these assets. I don't know how we played cities before sports venues. Just having realistic sports pitches for a park area is an enormous game changer. So I really like this bit of infrastructure we've got in the park too. Over here we dropped in a little bit more commercial, although somehow my assets here have gone. There was some commercial here, must have accidentally deleted those. And then dropped in some of the tourism parks, a little back-to-back basketball courtyard here, just a little kind of suburban park one using the dirt road to position and then deleting the dirt road and then having some dirt paths snake through here. This isn't actually connected into the park because I want people to pay to get in here and to actually contribute toward visitor numbers, so it is technically separate with that child's play area just adjacent to it as well, now sat in the park. Nice gazebo patterns with lots more bushes through here. You see people cannot get enough of the gazebos. They are insanely busy. Big attraction in the city. Apparently there's not much to do in Rannoch yet, clearly. Just people like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? So going down to the green gazebo again for the 5th weekend in a row. And then all our little buildings here now. Managed to squeeze in another restroom over here. And it's just a nice little busy active park area. If you're struggling with park areas, just recreate a local one nearby to you or jump onto Google Earth and just get a general sense of the kind of the scope and the scale of them. Really like the way we've done this one here with more parking up this way with a bit of commercial. Further down the park on the opposite side we just have a tree line that runs parallel with the fence down the side, and there's something so satisfying about just simple suburbia, isn't there? Just a park and some low density. And that sometimes that's all you need, you know? Really like it. And then it comes down here where it comes back into the dirt path to a little prop child's playground with some signage, swings. And hopefully you can see just how much of an advantage it is to have Finder installed, just to have access to the extra vanilla props, which for some strange reason are locked off alongside all industrial props. It's a decision I wish they really would change. They've done the same in CS2 as well. For some reason it's all blocked off. Like why? Why is it such a secret to have that swing set, you know? And then further down there's also a bench with some fountains and some simple bench work by the river where you'd expect people to sit and sort of enjoy the ambience alongside a little gazebo here where we do have a Mr. Corporate CEO with his little earpiece coming down here as well and sorting out a business call probably while he's enjoying a walk in the park. And then it sits down here where it joins the detailing we did during the episode. So a really nice stretch of sort of low density waterfront, simple park with a little centre in it with toilets and cafes and plazas, benches and fountains and whatnot before some sports and rec and some more landscape gardens. That sits in quite nicely, I think. And now looking at our solid commercial blocks here, you can really tell the difference here now, can't you? Actually creating kind of authentic, detailed back alleys in vanilla is possible if you adjust your zone-ins to help build that vibe, essentially. And then we come through into our car park blocks that are now getting people walking through them with plenty of parking around here for people visiting the park and the commercial. Just nice, tasteful, happy commercial blocks, very happy with them, and then this blends back into the existing suburbia we had. Right, we do have TBC here, waiting for that public transport to be introduced, which I think we'll do trams, or well, really depending on what everyone else wants to do. After you guys have left comments on that first episode, we'll develop something to progress down here and keep serving everyone here with public transport. There'll probably be Sherry Town incoming next episode. I just expanded Sherry's residential zoning through the frames that we had pre-established, whilst also drawing in some new frames to help match up with the new arterial that's now over here as well. And then a little bit of commercial. Also dropped in a dog park right on the corner here, and I'm really liking how this kind of central Sherry belt is developing. It's very green and lush, isn't it? I really like it. Those redwoods also incredibly welcome. I'm really enjoying seeing the redwoods across the kind of tree skyline, if you will. We always tend to avoid them, but this city we are 100% embracing them. And then looking down the main street again, it is just that commercial strip with carefully chosen assets in. Nothing horrendous growing, no surviving Mars assets, etc. And nice little backwater burgers here. And these more realistic assets from I'm not sure which pack this is from actually, the Backwater Burger. Actually not too sure. But either way, it's a really nice one. And then it comes down here up to our interchange, which has just been decorated with some simple rock walls where we have that exposed texture as it passes under the bridge, almost like it is a retaining wall, keeping that dirt mound that's holding up the elevated structure from sliding away, with lots of natural overgrowth, little vanilla bushes in here as well. And then pack that in both sides nearby to the wind turbines, which do now have a power line running through. I did just kind of orientate against the highway, and hopefully here you can see that point we mentioned earlier. I do like using power lines as decoration. I think they're kind of important bit of a city's infrastructure, so to see them makes the city look a little bit more natural and authentic, I think. Obviously, we won't just end it here. We'll do something to blend that in and probably keep the power line running parallel with the highway all the way down here, maybe down to kind of a major power plant that sits against the water down here somewhere. Maybe we'll stick our nuclear facility down here near where the oil refinery will end up being, I imagine. But that's way, way, way down in the future. And that's it. The town and city of Rannoch continues to grow in episode 2. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you're managing to enjoy our new Boreal vanilla build. I'm having a ton of fun building it. I always love these city starts being so intricate with little areas, and creating sort of custom part districts is always fun. And going in a different direction with this series as well, you know, we haven't really done that industrial rework in episode 2. And that next episode I want to get involved in building up kind of a big administration and commercial hub for Sherry to kind of sit and orientate around as we finish off that side of the town. And we'll definitely expand more into those tiles as well in coming episodes before we turn our attention, I guess, back to the left of this orientation, where we'll start crawling toward our high density areas in, well, quite a few episodes time. Don't forget to keep those ideas and suggestions coming down below. I really like getting your guys' influence in the city as much as my own. Massive shout out to all the patrons that support the channel. If you are interested in supporting the channel, there are links down to Patreon and Instant Gaming below, which are your two best ways to do it. And of course, always subscribing, liking and sharing always helps bring more people to the channel as well. So thank you so much for those that actually engage in that. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all that support. Otherwise, please do enjoy our second set of Rannoch cinematics. But I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.